everyone, and welcome into the Grip Lock preview for the Ledgestone Open. I almost called it the Ledgestone Insurance Open. That'd have been a throwback.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. What was it last year was our first one?
I think last year was one of the first ones, yeah. Not Ledgestone Insurance Open anymore, just the Ledgestone Open.
That's kind of swag when you become such a central company in disc golf that you're just a disc golf company, and then it's just sponsored by the disc golf company, not the insurance group.
Not the insurance group anymore.
How about it? We used to be Foundation Insurance Group.
Nope. This year, it's just going to be using Eureka Temp / the Sunset Hills course. We are not going to have Northwood as
they're going to Sunset? Or the women?
FPO.
Oh.
FPO, thank you. FPO will clear.
I was like,
that's an important clarification.
Gosh.
I didn't even think of that. FPO will only be playing Sunset Hills. MPO will only be playing Eureka Temp as Northwood or Northwoods was used during Champions Cup.
Sure was.
They won't be playing that. There is a few new pin placements at Eureka Temp.
Disc golf really cares about only playing. Like, they would never host a tournament at, like, a Worlds venue, like, a week before Worlds. That doesn't sound like something they'd do.
They never do that.
Like Utah Open.
Or, like, you know what's funny is, let me fact check myself here. I think in 2019, Ledgestone happened and Worlds happened at the same.
I think you'd be correct.
Let me go PDGA, Paul.
It happened because Paul won it in 2019, according to our stat sheet.
But I'm thinking he might be factoring Worlds because I don't know if Paul won. Let's go 2019. Let's look at this. Let's just take a look-see here. Look-see potatoes.
Look-see potatoes?
It's I'm not even going to try to explain myself.
Okay.
It's a very big stretch I made in my head. Okay, so Ledgestone Insurance Open happened June 21st to the 23rd that year, and the World Championships happened August 13th through August 19th, and Paul McBeth won them both.
And did they play at both courses? Well, they had to.
I don't know if 2019 they were playing both courses yet. Northwood was a relatively new addition.
That's right.
But anyways, just Eureka Temp. You will notice some new pin placements. There's like A and B pins since they're playing 4 rounds at these courses. There is a little bit, but it's not drastic changes up. No. It's not a huge change.
Is there different pins on one? Are they going to move that to like the right side?
Didn't look like it.
Or something?
No.
Okay.
Like, it was very selective holes that they were making these changes, and none of them were like, wow, that's a new hole change.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I think it's still a sad change. I liked having both courses in play at this event.
It's one of the best hybrid events.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as it was, but it is what it is. What it does mean is I think this makes the event more favorable for certain players.
Surely.
Taking out Northwood.
Absolutely.
It's going to be less of a mental grind out there. There will be some rain coming in on Thursday and Friday, so I think the name of the game is going to be just stay in contention out there and then push when it clears up on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
As you look at our statistics we have in front of us here, one of the two big names that really stand out are Paul McBeth and Ricky Wysocki as the owners of this event. But an important note is Ricky Wysocki out, not playing this event due to, I believe, a dislocated rib is what I've heard. Some type of rib injury where he popped his rib out. He is still scheduled. He is still registered for Idlewild, so it seems like it's not going to be a huge, long undertaking
to miss this event.
And I do think he was injured when he just won the European Disc Golf Festival, which also points to this isn't going to hold him out that long. But it is a bummer because he was on an absolute heater.
Did he say anything about that?
He won this event in 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Is Ricky like ultimate no excuse guy? Like, did he not even say he was injured when he won the event?
I don't think so.
Gosh, man, respect for Rick.
I saw Gannon Buhr like adjusting him. He posted that on his Instagram.
That's incredible.
Gannon was trying to like get him fixed before the round. So, anyways, Ricky won this event 2020, 2021, 2022. Cole Redollin's the winner of last year's event. But then, like we said, Paul McBeth technically won this event twice in 2019 because he won Ledgestone and he won Worlds at the same courses, and he won way back in 2016. There's one other player that, if we're looking at Eureka specifically, has to be added to the list. There's only 3 players ever to shoot 3 under or better every round they've ever played at Eureka. That is Ricky Wysocki, Paul McBeth, and Gannon Buhr.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a very interesting tournament, I think. Other fun fact is McBeth's worst score ever at Eureka is 4 under. So even at Eureka, if we're looking at past player performance, Paul's the guy.
Very, very good at this course.
Yeah, Paul's the guy. He actually beats out, because Ricky's number 2 on this list, but he beats out Gannon, who's going to be the number 2 guy that's playing this event, by 3 strokes on average score per round when we're looking at Eureka Temp. So Paul is kind of the dominant force at Eureka. But another player that I think is really important to look at here as well is going to be Anthony Barela. We'll talk about him in a second, because if you look at last year, held his own at the one round he got to play at Eureka Tim because he missed the cut due to poor performance at Northwood.
Right.
That's not going to be a problem anymore. But like we said, Ricky Wysocki, really big bummer because I think this was a really good possibility for him to get a win here.
Totally.
Not going to be there.
Never fun to get injured when you're on a hot streak.
Let's take a look at another player who would have won this event actually last year if it was just at Eureka, Calvin Heimburg. So last year he played Eureka very well. He would have beat Cole Redallen at this course had it just been there. But has had a little bit of a rocky stretch recently. What are your expectations for Calvin going into this event?
Yeah, he's ice cold right now. I think that Eureka favors the field. I think there are some courses that favor a certain type of player. Some courses just kind of favor the stars, the best players. And then some courses, some events, you look at them and you think, ooh, this one could be really deep. There could be a lot of players, some players you're not normally seeing at the top of the leaderboard. Now, there's 4 rounds, so it'll be time for it to be sifted through. But I think that's just kind of what this course does. You know, Eureka, a lot of people don't really like the course. I will give it this much. It has some flavor to it, if anything. There's a lot of recognizable holes. You've got the bridge. Hole 1's pretty iconic. 18, like there's a lot of the holes that play along the lake. So at least there has some flavor, a good variety of shots, a lot of low ceiling shots on those hillsides, and a good mix of par 3s as well. I think Calvin has all of the shots to play at this course. There's a lot of players will. However, he's been really cold, and he's going to have to deal with a lot of players that aren't cold right now. And that's just the biggest thing is, you know, I think he needs to kind of just pull himself out of it. And I think we've seen most disc golfers this year that have been towards the top and had a little slump. It's been more of one event, play a little better, next event back in contention, and then kind of move. It's not really been this huge jump. Now, he hasn't been finishing 60th. He's just been a few strokes kind of off the pace, so I don't think he's quite, I wouldn't say he is slumping as bad as some might think, because I think it's just a matter of a few shots around, and he's right back where he wants to be. So, yeah, I think he just kind of looks like he's working out the kinks right now, and I don't see him as, you know, I think he's always Calvin Heimburg. I'm not going to be shocked to see him at the top of the leaderboard, but I don't really, he's not directly on my radar for this event. He's not somebody I'm throwing into the mix.
I'm kind of on the opposite side. I really like Calvin out here, mainly because I think that this is a type of event that's going to bring a lot of people in together. It's going to bring a lot of jumbled mess, and I think that having good experiences out here is going to be beneficial. So is he going to be in the mix to win per se? I don't really think so, but I think I do have him in my top 3. Yeah, just double checked it. I do have him in my top 3 because I do like his game at this course, and I do think it could just take an event like this to just flip a switch where he just gets comfortable again.
It's certainly not going to be the hardest event ever.
Exactly. I think that's my thing with it is like, at Lake Eureka, players with a lot of experience, every player has experience out here. Every player who's in the top really right now has a lot of experience out here. And I think that could really help Calvin, where he's just like, get out here, get in a routine, feel back in a groove, and then just cruise in.
It definitely is. After a stretch of playing non-familiar courses for Calvin, it will be, for a lot of players, this will be like a coming home. Like, everybody knows this course.
That's what I'm saying. I think I could be completely off, but I think that'll help settle Calvin in, because that's what it feels like. It feels like Calvin just needs to settle in, and I also think that the rain coming in those first 2 days will also help him, because that should slow the pace of the field a little bit. So even if he has a little bit of a rocky round, he's not going to shoot himself out of it. Obviously he could, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Before last year,
I really like him at this event. I really think it could work here. Now, based on the previous scores, the move to Eureka, like I had said previously, will really be helping Gannon Buhr and Anthony Barela. Both of them have had long lists of wins this year. What do you think of their chances each individually to add to their long list of wins?
I like them both a ton at this event. 2 of my favorites. I think that, Gannon, he plays well everywhere right now. This is going to be no exception to that. I expect him to be, this is going to be another event where somebody has to go out there and beat Gannon. I really think that's going to be the name of the game. Can you beat Gannon Buhr on this week over 4 rounds? It's going to be tough to do. You better hope he gets off to a slow start. I expect AB to be pretty explosive as well. I think he's one of the guys to look out for that could come in with those scorching 12, 13, 14 unders. Will he be able to do it consistently over the course of the event? We'll see. But there are just certain holes on this course, especially, think about the baseball field hole, where he can just drop in a hyzer from way up high when other people are flexing it over the fence. Like, there are just holes where he will be able to take a lot of the difficulty out of the course by throwing those huge hyzers. And I think that will play to his advantage for sure. Will the putter be working? Well, we'll have to see that. There's a lot of putts towards water on this course, a lot of touchy up shots, but yeah, I could see him performing very well.
Yeah, I think this course is going to play very well for both of them. Obviously, statistically, you got to like Gannon more than AB, just previous history out here. I was trying to think through why that might be, and I think
Gannon
that
more than anybody.
Yeah,
everywhere.
You like Gannon. Yeah, Gannon's the number one player on the face of the planet right now. I think that what it might be is I think AB is a little bit more susceptible with his. They both have crazy good distance, but I think AB is a little bit more susceptible to the big shot, to where there's some holes that distance can bait you into trying to bite off more than you necessarily should, which
Certainly.
where it's a huge advantage, can also bring in more risk than some other players will take on. But we've also seen when AB has won, a lot of times he's been a little bit more controlled. So really it's just going to be like, does AB come out, feel like he's gotten behind, and then have to go pedal to the metal and we could see him slip? Or are we going to see a really composed Anthony Barela that is able just to kind of cruise through all 4 rounds? If he's the composed version of himself, then, I mean, obviously you got to really like him out here.
Here's a really important question. I don't know the answer to this off the top of my head. Gannon has obviously now won a major. He's won 2 Elite Pluses, I think, or at least one.
Yeah.
In any case, he's proven time and time again, 4 rounds, not too tall of a task for him. Has AB won a 4-round tournament on tour? Which
Ever?
would be from this season.
Well, it would only be this season.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's look at the events.
I don't
AB's
know that
won.
he did.
I don't think so, but let's just take a quick look so that we don't look stupid.
Because I'm just saying, like, I think that would be...
Because there's not many on tour.
Yeah, that would be an interesting point to see if he could prove that that's the case.
He's taken down. Chess.com was 3 rounds. Texas States was 3 rounds. Jonesboro was 3 rounds. That's it. True Bank was 3 rounds.
Bank was 3 rounds. So, I mean, I think there's something.
But what are the 4 rounds? European Open. He
the
came
majors and the pluses.
36th. Portland Open. He came in 44th.
Wait a second.
Waco. He came in 4th.
Yeah,
I think those are the only 3.
I don't think it's like he's going to perform badly.
Where's Champions Cup? Champions Cup he came in 10th.
I don't think it's like, oh, he's bad at 4-round events, but I do think there's something to be said. Winning a 4-round event, a lot of times, especially for a guy like AB who kind of gets hot, he's not the steady figure that Gannon Buhr or Calvin Heimburg can be at times, or Ricky Wysocki. So there's a leap to be made there. You instead of winning after 3 rounds, just getting hot, you might have to hold on to something or take a bad round 1 or 2 and then work back from that. So I think that'll be something interesting to watch, because that's something to kind of add to your resume. Like, hey, 4-round tournament, no problem.
Yeah. Now, one player who is very well versed in winning across 4 rounds, also very well versed at winning this tournament, is Paul McBeth.
Yeah.
Like we said, he's won it twice plus Worlds, makes it 3 times out here when it's on this course or these courses. With the momentum he's bringing back from Europe, coming into what almost feels like a home event for Paul.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him this weekend?
I mean, the stars have kind of aligned. This is I don't want to say it's a must-win, but it's starting to feel that way. Because Ricky not playing, probably easily his biggest threat out here at the moment.
More than Gannon Buhr.
I would say coming off of that win, Ricky was probably the biggest threat at this event. I would have seen him as the favorite. But I think honestly, like Gannon Buhr, if anybody other than Ricky was on the hot streak, I'd still have Gannon Buhr, but it's Ricky, and I think that says something. But the fact of the matter is Paul is playing a course that he historically dominates. It's just this course. You mentioned his worst round ever is 4 under. Like, you're not really going to blow up. He's been getting progressively better. This is another tournament where he should be set up to succeed. And if he once again gets in contention, I think it's gotten to the point now where he's been in contention enough times throughout this portion of the season where we got to see him do it, because it's going to, I think you can only finish close to the top with the really good situations so many times before it's like, okay, yeah, we got Worlds coming up and I still like you there, but like, am I going to be sold on the fact that you can actually get it done and get a win? I think this would be a big time for him to prove that. I like him here better than at Idlewild. So I think if he were to just go, let's say he takes a 3rd here and an 8th at Idlewild, I don't know. Like, I think after that, I might be like, yeah, Worlds, like I could see it, but I'm not quite sold on. But if he can win here, I think that's a really big proving point to say, yes, I can still win the big one. I'm still here. Like, I've proven that now. And I think that'd be huge for his momentum and his confidence. Because sometimes you have to see yourself win a tournament to believe it, because it's very easy to be on Pro Tour right now and lose to guys like Gannon Buhr and think, is this even possible anymore? Like, I shot 12 under in the final round to try and catch Ricky, and I still lost. Like, man, am I even capable of doing this? I'm playing good golf, so I think that'll be interesting to watch. I like him a lot, though.
love him at this course. I love him at this event. I wish this event was 1 week later. Because the thing that if I look at this list that scares me for Paul is I'm looking at a bunch of people that aren't fathers. And my big thing, I'm serious here, is
just cut that exact clip.
I'm just saying, I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking my son is 2, right? I think he's less than a year. If I'm traveling to Europe with my son, we're getting acclimated over there and we're coming back. I think they came back yesterday. Luca's not sleeping well this week.
You got to stay in the hotel.
There's just no way around it.
You got to do a night in the hotel, night before the
like. You know what I'm saying? Like Luca's like sleep is not happening.
Yeah.
And so that's not necessarily. So that's the only thing that scares me is like if Ledgestone was next week, Paul's probably my guy. I'm probably thinking this is it for him. But that's the only thing that worries me is like it's not a disadvantage per se, as like, I don't want to say being a father's a disadvantage by any means, but like, lack of sleep is a disadvantage. Like if you are lack of sleep turns to lack of focus, like that is what it is. And hey, that's just sometimes a punishment of being a good and present father. Is sometimes you're going to be more tired than the people you're going against. So for Ledgestone, that's my only thing with it is like, if Paul is able to show up and play, because he has a lot of momentum right now, if he's able to play with that same momentum, he's scary out here. Like he could easily walk away with this. But more so what I'm saying is don't let a blip here make you like think, oh, Paul's not going to be a contention at Ottawa or Worlds. Because I think there is a serious external factor of sleep might just not be found this week. Like that's just
I'm not putting much stock in that.
Factor of a kid.
I'm
putting stock in that. I'm putting stock in that. Like if Paul comes out and fires off a 30th place here, I'm not scared of it.
We also like don't even know if he's like having to wake up in the night to tend to his son. Like if he's got to play a tournament the next day.
I'm just saying, like if Luca cries, like whether I got to do anything or not, I'm still waking up.
If you had like a huge professional tournament the next day,
it wakes me up.
Yeah, fair enough. But
like whether you're getting up and doing anything, it wakes you up. Like you hear a baby crying, you're woken.
If I had to play a pro tour next day, I'm not in the same room.
Well, I just want that to be out there of like, because you could easily see like the slip happen of, oh, he comes in 25th. And people
you're setting him up for his excuse. I
think that is a very legitimate excuse in my head. And that's also a very legitimate reason he's not in my top 3 is I'm like, I'm putting myself in those shoes and I'm like I had when I went and ran my first half marathon, okay, brought my family with me, of course. Luca did not want to sleep that night.
Yeah.
So I was toast on the start line. I was exhausted. Was I going to win that race? Of course not. My goal was just to finish, but it was a factor. I was exhausted on the start line. And it's like, that's the joy of fatherhood that just comes with it.
If he falls susceptible, I
just don't want people to see a 30th place finish and be like, oh well, Paul's only shot was Europe. No, I still really like him at Idlewild and Worlds regardless of this weekend. But
what if he doesn't get sleep before Worlds?
Well, that's a whole. I'm just saying.
It sounds like he has to build an excuse for every single event because he has
absolutely.
a kid.
Yeah, of course you do. Like if your kid's with you on tour, like that's just a factor that parents have to deal with. I'm just saying. I mean, you're a father of 2. Imagine traveling back from Europe with both of your kids.
This is not a parenting podcast.
And their kids are on your kids are used to sleeping at 8 a.m. is when they go to bed right now.
This is not a parenting podcast, but if I were a professional that my livelihood depended on my play and I knew that I was getting affected week to week by sleep for that reason, I am not sleeping in the same area as that child.
Yeah, no,
that's what I would be doing.
But I'm just saying. That's the only reason I didn't put it in my top 3.
Like if that was happening week after week, and that's my livelihood, and like
I don't think it's happening week after week. I'm just saying you're coming back from Europe.
It's the Europe plus.
It's the Europe, yeah. Like
okay, that's what I'm saying. This is a fair situation.
You have Monday. You're traveling back from Europe. You're used to sleeping 12 hours or 8 hours or whatever ahead they are. Like your body has to adjust, but now you have a baby's body that has to adjust on top of that.
No,
that's a very serious factor.
That's a real situation.
That's why I'm saying if Ledgestone was next week and this was Idlewild, I would think Ledgestone, I would be on the same boat of you of like, this is almost a must win for Paul and all that. But with that factor, I'm like, I'm not going to be too concerned if he comes in 25th. I'm not going to say, well, there goes Paul's chance. I still really like him at Idlewild. I still really like him at Worlds. And as he's playing right now, I still really like him at USDGC.
Well, in any case, it's gotten you to omit him from your top 3. So I hope he
is out of my top 3.
I hope
he is out of my top 3.
I hope he beats it.
I would love to. I mean, I think it's a great shot out here, but just gotta weigh everything evenly out here. One other player we got to talk through here. Cole Redolin won this last year, earned me the Chick-fil-A bet.
That's right.
For the rest of the year last year. Thank you, Cole.
He stomped everybody too.
What do you think of his chances to repeat out here now that we're taking away Northwoods?
Yeah, well, because he kind of dominated at Northwoods as well last year.
He
right?
played solid all around.
Yeah,
but that was
he was clean through there, and then he had the course record, and I remember him just kind of like cruising that final round and not really letting anybody back. He's been a little more quiet this year. I think that he popped up a few times at the beginning of the season. He hasn't had an awful year, but it's always tough to judge up and comers in a tour that 75% of the events are won by like 3 people. Like it is just a tour that is dominated by the stars right now, and so winning is tough, and it's hard to judge somebody on that. But it's what type of player are you going to be? Are you going to be somebody that is just like an okay player? Or is he going to be a star in the future? I think it's still early to tell. I think anytime you're going back to an event that you're defending at, there's always going to be a level of comfortability and confidence associated with that. So I could see him cracking the top 5, but I don't think he's going to be a major threat to win.
I agree.
Maybe that'll cost me again. I might like.
Well, I didn't put him in my top 3. Yeah. But I'm not going to make it.
It would have been a bold play.
Yeah, no, because he played solid at Eureka last year, but like I said, if you looked, he was still getting beat at Eureka. Not when he shot the course record.
Yeah,
he didn't get beat at Eureka that obviously, but like he was still being challenged at Eureka, but. The ability to play clean across the board is what won him that event, because the players that played well at Eureka, a lot of them struggled in Northwoods, and vice versa. The players that played good in Northwoods struggled at Eureka. He just kind of played solid all across. So when we're going just Eureka, I think that plays at a slight disadvantage to him, because I think it brings in more talent pool. It brings in some of the other guys that would have struggled at Northwood. I think Eureka just plays the whole field a little bit better than Northwood did, which I think makes his chances of repeating, which is a very hard thing to do on tour anyways, even harder. So I won't be surprised with the top 10. Top 5, I'd be surprised. With the play he's had this year, I don't really expect it, but he won it last year. So, who's to say he won't do it again? Any other players you have your eyes on coming into this weekend?
I like Ezra Robinson. Played well last year. I think he could do well, but yeah, it's definitely an event I look at pretty chalky. I feel like I can see a lot of other players challenging, but at the end of the day, if the best players we have play well, they're going to dominate the top of the leaderboard. Yeah,
the 2 guys, Ezra was on my list. The 2 guys in addition to that I wanted to bring up are Kyle Klein. I think could really do well doing only Eureka Temp.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at this list, Chris Dickerson is the other guy I really like on here. If you look at the past player performance, you have Paul, average round 9 under. Gannon, average round 6 under. Then Chris actually beats out Calvin, average round 5.6 under. This is only Eureka Lake.
Oh, okay.
This is only here. Chris Dickerson plays this course very well, because I think he does the flip of what I said AB does.
Yeah.
He doesn't get tempted by the big shots, which allows him just to go out and play very consistent, this is what I'm doing every round.
He does also have like half the round. Oh, no, he has 10. Never mind. I was looking at Gannon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He plays this course very well. I think he's on Team Ledgestone. He's on Team Discraft. So this is another similar to Paul. Like, this is kind of a homecoming event. You get there and like everyone running the event, you're like all the fans there, a lot of Discraft heavy fans, the staff's very Discraft heavy. There is something to be said about that when you're out there. So I really like Chris Dickerson out here. I definitely think he's one to look for. And I also, like I said, Kyle Klein, he's not on our list of past player performance out here. It's just when I think of a course like this, Kyle Klein is a guy that I think should be mentioned out there.
He's been the king of under the radar this year. Very quietly had a decent season, but he really needs to grab at least a win to be able to put a mark on this season as a success.
Now, in FPO, we still have a fractured field for FPO with Evelina, Kristen, Henna, Silva, etc. still missing. Owen Scoggins played very well at Sunset Hill historically.
I was sick for like 2 weeks there.
I know.
Decent field.
Owen has played very well and obviously has been absent from the field during the Europe. How important is her performance out here to make a statement now that we're back with Owen?
Yeah, I think it is big. We haven't really heard from her, so I think it'd be a good reminder event to kind of establish what her game is looking like as we head closer to Worlds. But she'll have some challenges. But yeah, Sunset Hills, interesting course. I think it's pretty bland, honestly. So I think a lot could happen out there. I'm going to be interested to see how the scoring goes on that course.
Yeah, historically, I've liked Sunset Hill for FPO because it's designed just for them.
It is, yeah.
I don't think I like 4 rounds at it.
Yeah, a lot of bunkers.
I did like the breakup of Northwood, but where I think Owen comes into play is there's plenty of room for the flex shots, both backhand and forehand, that she likes to play.
Certainly.
And it does favor placement shots.
Yeah.
Like, you can get aggressive in several different places. There will be a distance factor out there, but if you just pick your spots on the course, and Owen has plenty of distance, but if you pick your spots on the course and you can just place the disc there, you can do really well. And obviously her putter's going to get hot, and if her putter gets hot and stays hot, she could easily walk away with this thing. Missy Gannon is a fresh off of a win from Europe. She also won this event last year as the returning champion. Do you have her as your favorite heading into this event?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that, you know, in the damaged field, she's always going to look like a good option, and yeah, I think the game's in good shape right now, so I think that's the favorite for me.
Yeah, I really like Missy out here. I do think it'll just be interesting because we're going to introduce Owen back to the field. We're going to introduce Holland, who we'll talk about next, back into the field. It'll be interesting to see how they go, and not to use the sleep thing again. But you do have Missy Gannon returning from Europe, going against two players who didn't go to Europe.
That's valid for sure.
Owen Scoggins and Holland Hanley, they're acclimated. They're over here. There's no jet lag or anything to be had.
That's true.
Luckily, in my opinion, with rain coming in the first 2 days, any jet lag or sleep deprivation could just be offset by the rain, to where it's like by the time we're ready to score on Saturday and Sunday, it's all worn off, ready to roll.
No more jet lag.
Holland Hanley, final player I think we really have to talk about because we haven't seen her in a while. This course changed, I think, is in her favor, taking away Northwood, just being out here on the golf course. What do you think of her chances?
I think she's kind of that one player in FPO right now that's really unpredictable. I think in years past, there was a year where it felt like that was Ella Hansen. There was years where it was Haley King was that unpredictable player. I think it's Holland Hanley right now where there are times where
those two are still unpredictable, but just they don't have the top end of that.
I'll say they're not really getting the top end of that very much. I mean, Haley King, what in the heck happened? But yeah, I think Holland is that player right now who can look awesome at times and then just lost at other times. But I do think she has a good chance at this event to play solid. I think that I like her at this event.
Yeah, no, I really think it'll come down to her putt. I think if her putt can be on, like we saw, was it Beaver State or Portland? When she hit that sick putt to go to the playoff.
That was Beaver State.
I think it was Beaver State because it was at Milo. If her putt can be on, like we've seen at different times, I think that's going to be a big key for her because she's going to give herself looks.
Yeah.
With her distance, the ability a lot of times I think go mid where other players are going to be going fairway and stuff. That's going to give her looks similar to Evelina, but her putt can be streaky. Luckily, it's not as streaky as Evelina's, but I do think if her putt gets on, that's when she's going to be a threat. So it'll all come down to that. Any other players in FPO you have your eyes on?
Not particularly. Emily Weatherman, is she playing? I'd have
to check. I don't
know if I checked her.
She's not in my top three, so I don't know.
If she's playing, then that'll continue to be an interesting one to follow. But other than that, not really.
The only one that I think could be interesting is Paige Pierce.
Well, she's always interesting.
It could be very interesting just to see. Again, you got a lot of history on this course. She has historically played it very, very well. She can be added to the list of very unpredictable players for this year. When you thought Paige is back, she's gone.
I don't need Paige Pierce to win another event.
She could slip in here. She could definitely slip in here.
Then I'll just waste a pick on Worlds, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah, so I wouldn't surprise me to see Paige. It wouldn't surprise me to see Paige Pierce's name in 10th. Wouldn't surprise me to see her name in 2nd. Wouldn't surprise me to see her name in 28th.
Yeah.
So who knows?
I actually would be surprised to see her name in 2nd.
You would?
I would. Yes.
All right.
I would.
Well, maybe Trevor will be surprised. Would you be shocked?
Not shocked. Surprised. Yeah, not shocked.
Well, that was about what, Katrina Allen last year?
Yes. Yes.
Point standing update. I'm in 2nd. I honestly, I might as well put myself in 3rd. I'm so far behind. I have 79 points, and Trevor has 91.
It could all come crashing down.
I think at this point, Joe hasn't been on the show in months, and she's probably still ahead of him.
Well, the problem is FPO is so similar every week that it really comes down to MPO, and then, yeah.
I made some wild MPO picks.
Okay.
So let's just jump into the picks. You know what? I'll kick it off.
Okay.
I'll kick it off with my MPO picks. I took Calvin Heimburg 3rd. Like I said, I think I like him out here.
Okay.
Gannon Buhr in 2nd, mainly because I really feel like Gannon could win this event, and I want to have points if Gannon's in the mix.
Fair.
And I took Chris Dickerson to win.
You've been heavy on Chris Dickerson lately.
Not really. I just picked him for the European Open. I picked him here.
I think there was one other one.
Maybe.
I feel like
Music City. I picked him for Music City.
You like to throw him in there.
He's gonna win one.
Probably right.
I want to get it right when he does.
How many weeks will you spend on it though?
He just
I really do not hate him top 3 at all.
I like the pick.
I don't hate him top 3.
Because if you look at the list, we've got Gannon, Paul are the only two ahead of him that are here on past player performance. I don't know. He played solid that opening round.
I would pick him like 4th or 5th.
Yeah, I like him. I put him first. Bring it home, Chris.
I'm going to take AB in 3rd, Gannon in 2nd, and I'm going to take Paul McBeth to win.
Yeah.
I think this is where he finally does it. I think he either wins this event or he completely resets my expectations and takes 20th. Or like,
No, you got 20th is just you got to wipe it. I've already went over this whole thing.
I'm not going to wipe it.
I went over the whole spiel.
No, I'm definitely not going to.
If he comes in 20th, it means nothing.
If he comes in 20th, I'm going to say he's washed again. Now, I'm going to stick on that for a while.
All right.
Yeah.
Who do you have for FPO?
FPO, Missy, Holland, Own.
Oh, dang.
Same thing?
No. Well, same players.
Oh,
I
man.
went. Stick with me here.
Okay.
Own, Missy, Holland.
So they're all different.
Yeah.
That's actually
That
big.
is big.
That's big. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Owen taking this down. I don't know. I think her putter's going to get hot, and she's just
Same
gonna
here.
I think she's
I don't
going to do it. Yeah, I think she's going to do it. Who's your dark horse?
This is an interesting one. This will be really a proof if I can. I lost the dark horse last week, to be fair, but I haven't lost it in a while in like the normal events. I'm taking Big Germ.
Wow.
I'm taking the nostalgia play.
Love it.
A guy who's played.
Is he playing or is he doing
He is
commentary?
playing.
Okay.
I saw his name on the list. And yeah, I'm kind of making this nostalgia pick.
I'm going with.
I like him to take like a sneaky 25th every once in a
Well,
while.
I like this guy to take a sneaky 24th. Ben Calloway. He played really well at Eureka Temp.
That's a good pick.
I think this course fits him. He always has like one or two events that he just
I feel like
sneaks
you
up
keep
there.
picking him after he has a good event, and then he does bad that event, and then he goes back.
He won it for me at European Open. He was my dark horse.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I just
he
kept
didn't
him.
play well though. But he won.
But he won it.
Because Coriel's played much worse.
He won it for me, and he was just featured in that like downtown Peoria,
Yeah.
like
Vibes.
urban thing. So he's
Ledgestone
already been
guy.
on coverage.
Vibes are
Ledgestone
up. Vibes
guy.
are up.
You know, I like him. I like
All
Ben
right.
Calloway.
I like it better than Big Germ. You took him first.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Be sure to get out, watch some disc golf this weekend. We'll be back on Monday to tell you about everything that went down. It could be a very interesting episode depending on who wins and what places people come in. So you're going to want to tune into Grip Locked on Monday. We'll talk to you then.